to Jurassic Peck Farms. As you can see, we're getting a pretty good rain. It is the very beginning of September, and you know, it is time. This is actually a really heavy rain, and it's going to be going probably until around noon. I'm going to come back out and do some chores after that, you know, because if it's going to stop raining and I don't have to work in the rain, I'm not gonna. The chickens, a lot of them are experiencing their first rain, like really decent rain, and the ducks, honestly, it's their first really big rain too, and they're loving it. They could not be happier. So just, you know, kind of as a little overview, I didn't get any of those tomatoes really harvested. I got a few harvested before those thunderstorms we had a couple days ago. I'll put that footage in next. But yeah, so it's coming down really hard. You know, this is typical for us in the Pacific Northwest. It's just, you know, after about 3 months of no rain at all whatsoever, this can kind of catch you off guard for the first big one. And now it really does fully feel like fall. So that means for me, really getting in there, cleaning out the garden beds, harvesting anything I really can so that, you know, whatever else needs to kind of finish up can finish up in the next like 4 weeks or so. And then I'm also going to show you what I'm harvesting today and this afternoon after the rain stops, because there's really no reason for me to be out in this if it's going to stop in like 3 hours. That's what gardening's like here in the Pacific Northwest. Come along with me. I'm going to show you what I did the last few days, and then I'll show you what I do in a little bit here once this rain stops. So I gotta pick the tomatoes because they're starting to get split, some from the rain and just some from the fact that they're getting too big. That's okay, I have a bucket for the chickens, they're gonna love them. I was trying to get out here before it really started raining. It wasn't raining like it's supposed to be until tonight, but surprise, it's Oregon. Welcome to the Pacific Northwest, where if it's hot and humid, it probably might rain. It definitely cooled it down though. And yes, in case anybody was asking, I could smell it coming. Well, that's two pretty big baskets of tomatoes, mostly slicers, well, a few slicers, mostly cherry tomatoes. There's still quite a bit on the vines, but it's getting kind of late, and I need to take these inside and wash them out and spread them out so they don't split anymore. Everything else on the vine will pretty much last, but I definitely have some tomatoes to go through. Oh, wait, check it. Look at this, if I can get in there without getting attacked by a spider. Look at this. Little strawberry snack. Yep, the sun is coming out, as you can see. Like, this is the difference. This is Oregon fall right here. Still a little bit of clouds, but wind's still here. But sun's out. So heavy rain this morning, and now everything is nicely saturated, but that means that I gotta come out and harvest some stuff while I have a time to do it. So something I'm gonna be doing today is getting in here, and I have quite a few spaghetti squashes. So on the goal today is harvesting these spaghetti squashes. I have some good ones. The vines are dead. There's a big one there, back there. I got a little one there. And we got another one there. I think there's actually some back in here that I saw earlier in the summer, which I don't see now, but I know they're still there. So we're going to be going in there, cleaning this area out, and throwing what I can to the chickens. Whatever can stay. I'll probably, you know, like this zinnia right here. This zinnia right here, we'll be keeping some of that. But in general, we're going to clean this area out. I don't know that any of the tomatillos are going to be saved. It looks like I even got some cucumbers now that the rain kind of knocked down some stuff. So that's the goal for today. We're going to clean this area out. And like I said, I'm going to leave some of these flowers because honestly, they're still doing really well and the bees are still around. So, and I'm going to harvest a few pumpkins. Hopefully they'll still be good. I have a couple pumpkins right in here that I'm gonna harvest, and I got some shishitos I can take care of. So time to get changed. This right here, volunteer tomato from last year. It grows every year, usually grows up and over. The chickens get to enjoy it, so it's mostly grass and some borage. So this volunteer tomato plant was growing along the ground, and it grew roots along the stem because any of the fine hairs on a tomato stem will actually continue to grow roots. It's how they survive. They actually want to grow along the ground. We as gardeners pick them up off the ground so that the fruits don't get destroyed. But fun fact about tomatoes. Give the tomatoes to the chickens, and then the plant goes elsewhere. See? Because this area was so buried, I didn't even see that I have a pepper. So this pepper is beyond picking. It's squishy. It has some sun scald, surprisingly. Somehow it got sun all the way down in there. Now the rest of the plant, there's not really any peppers growing on it. And this one, poor guy, just got blocked out of the sun. I was trying something different. Didn't work out this year. I have a lot of tomatillos on the ground. I'm actually not sure that any of those are going to be viable. So I think all of those are going to be too hard, too squishy and rotten for me to use. So they're going to come out. Here's a pretty good one. This was hanging off the trellis. I got a couple really good ones like this. Looks like it didn't grow all the way back into the edge like they did last year, but still a ton, just a ton of great squash. All right, guys, check it. So I was able to now I can take the matting down. The chickens can reach their head through there. They're going to be scratching, getting everything they can. I found quite a few squash bugs up in here. I'm going to clean the other side. I just got to go on the other side of the grate. Trim back some cosmos, some grass. Now it's not like perfect, obviously, like clearly there's still a lot to be done. But the general like height and weed population, but look. See, they're already reaching through the fence trying to get little chunks of tomato, little chunks of I know they're not supposed to eat the tomatoes, but they haven't really ever gotten sick from it. They only eat what they want. So they're already over here reaching through, trying to get the grass, trying to get the clover, seeing what I'm digging up. But in taking out one of the squash vines, because they do, I mean, look at this. I have another tomato plant growing right there. And that's definitely some sort of potato leaf tomato. I'm actually probably just gonna let that grow. It has some buds on it. But so I have those 2 squash still right there, and I think there's one more around the corner. But I was pulling everything out and I was like, oh, what's over here? This guy says cleaning out part of the green stalk since all the stuff. Look at this. Just sitting right there in the green stalk. Perfectly good squash. It grew around the dent. Look at that. Perfectly good squash though. So there you go. So far, I got these 5. This one has a little soft spot right here, so I might open it up and see if I can salvage part of it, just cook half of it for dinner. But that's not bad, 5 so far, and they're good size. I mean, you know, they're single serving size. Maybe that one is more than one, but enough to make a couple lunches, like, or a dinner and a lunch for me. It's perfect. All right, so now to try to attack the jungle. This did exactly what I wanted it to. I wanted it to crawl up the trellis, but you know, you don't need all these. Oh, and look at this. See, perfect example. This is why we need to get rid of all the leaves. Squash bug eggs on dead squash leaves. So this is going right into my compost bin. Honestly, I don't even know if they're still viable, but I'm not gonna risk it. Bye. Okay, so not perfect by any means, but a lot cleaner. Was able to trim out and lift up some of the vines that were laying on the ground, trimmed up, cleaned up, got everything out from under there, got almost all of the squash leaves, I'm pretty sure. Might have to wait for a second for the rest. But yeah, so I haven't done this side yet, but I did pull some weeds on this side. I have some lime basil in here that I really want to harvest. I'm probably going to do that tomorrow. And I'll probably freeze dry those leaves so I can use them in a really cool tea. It honestly is one of my favorite teas, so I'm pretty excited to do that. Cleaned up this little edge right here. Kind of got some of the grass. I mean, look at that. That stuff is definitely, this is all going to get weed fabric. My goal for next year. Hold on, squash bug. Not today. And then on this side, you know, I deadheaded a lot. I cleaned out this whole back area right here, which was kind of a cluster. I just got to grab those few last little tomatillos that are on the ground. Definitely going to get some volunteers next year because there were definitely some seeds laying on the ground. But yeah, so I got some basil in there. That is Genovese basil. That's sweet basil that you use in Italian cooking. It's already gone to seed. Probably can't save it. Might add it to a basil mixture though. I have a bunch of savory basils. Yeah, so now let's go down over here and we're gonna harvest these last 2 pumpkins, and I'm gonna pull all of the vines out over here because these are really, and then that kind of cluster right there. And then I'm gonna harvest these 2 sad little acorn squashes. They were doing so well, and one got sun scalded and one got eaten by a squirrel. So 'tis my squash life this year. Okay, so here we are. That's all cleaned out. Killed a lot of squash bugs. I actually thought I was recording and I wasn't, so I apologize. There were quite a few squash bugs in here. I squished as many as I could. Tried to disturb their home. Spiders, roly-polies, all that other stuff, they can live. Squash bugs, those guys, it's time for them to go. So I was kind of surprised. So these 3 pumpkins, this one was actually a surprise. This one I knew was growing. This one I wasn't sure if it was going to be okay. They're all really good. So I should have enough to make a decent pumpkin pie, maybe 2, which is going to be nice. That's, once again, one of my few goals that I have for my garden. And then, yeah, so I got all that spaghetti squash. And then I didn't record this. I don't know if it recorded. So Tramontino squash, I've been trying to grow these for a really long time. So this I found when I was tearing everything out. Now, Tramontino squashes are supposed to be like 2 feet long and like 2 pounds. They're supposed to be able to feed a family of 12. Clearly, it wasn't an ultimate win, but I have been trying to grow Tramontinos for a long time. And this year I finally got this little one. So I planted that Tramontino squash kind of later in the year. Squash bugs couldn't quite get a hold of it. And since I'm pulling all the plants, this came out, so it was a surprise. This one here apparently had grown and I had just missed it. You know, so it's still small. So, I mean, it's, you could, if it was bigger, you could eat it as a winter squash, but I'm not going to cut that open and hollow out the 2 ounces of squash that's in there when I have all of these. So, yeah, but I'm pretty excited about that. I'm going to eat it. Is this a huge win? No, but it's a win and I'm going to take it. And it might only be, you know, a side for my dinner in the next few days, but I'm excited. Finally grew one. It is getting colder. My shishitos this year never took off, so I didn't get a big shishito pepper harvest, but I am going to harvest whatever's on these plants, and I'll cook them up and I'll have a nice little side for a dinner this week. So these are pretty small, but the nights are getting kind of cold, and you know, I'd rather have something a little small while it's fresh. I'll probably leave this one on there. I might get a few more, but I'm going to pick kind of the somewhat bigger ones. I won't pick this one. This one's still pretty small. They're all pretty small, to be honest, but oh my God, look at this. This leaf. Squash bug eggs. Squash bug eggs on my pepper. You have got to be kidding me. Oh, it's on for next year. Of course, now I have to check the whole plant. What the heck? Like, this is more along the size that I'd want to harvest. This is a little small. This is even small, but that's good for a snack. So this basil has gone to seed. These are a little overkill, but ooh, look at this. See, a little surprise in here in this little nestled grass area. I'm gonna pick this because I don't want anybody else to get it. I'm gonna harvest this. You probably could leave it on the vine a little bit longer, but clearly friends have been nibbling on it and I want to make sure I get this. This is all scarred over. Yeah, this is all scarred over, but I just want to make sure that I get it out of here before it gets damaged, because I'm pulling this plant out because we're getting rid of all the vines that are in here. So I saw this pumpkin. Earlier in the summer and it was small, so I kind of just put it over here out of the way to make sure, you know, I wasn't gonna accidentally hit it with a lawnmower or anything like that. This looks like this is the only pumpkin that's on this vine. It is done growing. You can see the stem is starting to, so we're gonna harvest it. This is the only pumpkin I think I've ever successfully grown that hasn't been like a sugar pie pumpkin. Like, this is like a big pumpkin. Am I excited about it? You bet. Do I love pumpkins? More than anything. So it might not look like much, but for me, this is actually a pretty good haul for squashes this year. I really wasn't expecting to get anything. I had 6 big luxury pie winter pumpkins that were like twice that size. They're supposed to be small like that, but they were twice that size. And, you know, I had more acorns, but just the squash bugs took it down. So I'm really excited about the spaghetti squash. It's a long holder, like, so I can keep it a while. And I do love having them in the winter, even with the fresh tomato sauce that I made this year, or the diced tomatoes. I got some, I don't know what these are. These are a volunteer. I'm probably not going to open it up and eat them, but I'm going to use them for decoration. Might give them to the chickens. I got 1 butternut squash. I know there's another one over there. I'm going to go harvest it right now. Yeah, I got an actual Cinderella pumpkin. Super excited about that. Honestly, that might be my favorite thing that I grew. And I'm actually pretty proud of that butternut squash, because I last year got ones that were like smaller than this, and they were delicious, but I didn't get a chance to eat them because well, I ate them, but they were super tiny. It was like an amuse-bouche. And then, you know, just I got some basil today. I picked some peppers. I had 1 green eggplant, so I decided to pick that, and I got that little squash. Considering the squash bugs that I had, this was actually a really good harvest for me. I really was not anticipating getting much of anything squash-wise from the garden, but I gotta tell you, I'll take it. That's, I mean, those spaghetti squashes alone, the smaller ones might just be 1 dinner. The big one, I'm sure, is gonna be like 2 dinners, maybe 3, you know, so that for me is going to make some really nice dinner, some really nice lunch prep for the week. So I'm actually pretty happy about that. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me today. It's starting to rain here in the Pacific Northwest, and right now it's overcast again. So that nice sunny weather that I had while I was harvesting some of the squash and cleaning out one of the beds is gone. The clouds are back. It is going to be sunny a little bit this week, but then by the end of the week we're getting rainstorms again. So it is the way of gardening up here in the Pacific Northwest. As you can see, the ducks are very happy in their new mud pit that they created, so that is going to be a project that I'm going to have to hit too. So yeah, just trying to clean out all the beds a little bit at a time. I don't have a ton of time right now, so sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. So I started with the squash. I'm going to come out tomorrow and I'm going to harvest some tomatoes, but in the meantime, all the winter squash has been harvested, so that's done for the year. And now just on to get the tomatoes and any herbs that are left so that we can start to clean out the beds, so get them ready for either fall planting. I do have a few fall crops I'm going to plant, or just for next year. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next time.